Wow, Alex, we were warned.
See,
We were warned.
He's been blaming me for being the wacky one.
So is this like Paradox of Thrift metal band, you thinking?
Yeah, I think so. If Rick Adonna's fronting it, of course, what other kind of band could it be?
We got to get some like hair metal kind of thing.
Yeah, whatever he wants to do. I'm thinking, like hardcore, like ska, that's Rick Adonna.
I'm going to be the adult in the studio right now.
All right.
So it has been a nutsy kind of week.
Clearly.
All right, apparently I'm not doing well at this.
She's the adult in the studio. So...
No, my point is...
Roll the commercial.
My point is, our panel at the Bloomberg Global Business Forum, Brian Moynihan of Bank of America, Anand Mahindra of the Mahindra Group, and then Steve Schwartzman of Blackstone, these guys were very optimistic about the outlook. Brian Moynihan, has a really good look into the window of retail and retail individuals and the retail sector, and I just wonder... Are you guys feeling optimistic about the outlook? Because you sound like you're tempering back, Carl.
Well, I don't want to be pessimistic, but I'm kind of objective or just constructive on the outlook. So the risk of recession, I will argue, is relatively low. So I know there have been folks out there saying 40% chance and whatnot. I think that's totally overblown. When you have an unemployment rate that is the lowest it's been in 50 years, it's going to be very difficult to knock consumers off that perch. That being said, they don't necessarily have to outperform. So there's a little bit of a hunker down mentality among hiring managers, among capital spending in the business sector.
Right.
And now we see some evidence of that among consumers as well. So again, it doesn't lead us to a stall, but it does lead us to much weaker growth in the back half of the year compared to the first half of the year. And that will become evident in everything from stock earnings to corporate profits.
It's a comparative,
across the board, right? So it's a chilly fall that's settling in.
Okay.
All right. So as you look toward the next couple weeks of fall, Alex Harris, what's front of mind for you? Are we going to move past this repo madness, or are we still in it for a while?
We're going to be in it for a while.
Repo Madness would be also a good name for a band.
There we go.
That's Alex's band.
That's my band.
Alex Harris and the Repo Madness.
So I think we're still in it for a bit. We get the minutes from the FOMC on October 9th, and I think that's going to be very telling.
So that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's as telling as to how they saw this and what they were seeing and what they were discussing. The other thing is that these overnight repo operations are still going on through the 10th. And so now what people are going to be looking at once we get through quarter end on Monday is, do they extend them? Do we get some sort of reassurance that these are going to continue? Year-end pressures are starting to build. I think people are sort of nervous about quarter end, and if they see quarter end not be as good and it's volatile, you're going to start seeing a scramble for cash at year-end, which I think you're getting to see already. So these are the kinds of things. And then you have the Fed at the end of October, so people are really waiting to see what they do.
You're looking at, don't forget, we have a jobs report next week.
Jobs report next Friday, not looking to be a very strong outcome as well. But as we look at that Fed speak, we really have to focus on any signals that they are getting ready to pull the trigger on expanding the balance sheet to alleviate these problems. What Alex is talking about are temporary fixes. They need to grow the balance sheet to permanently fix it.
All right. Well, good luck with both your bands this weekend. I believe Paradox of Thrift is opening for Repo Madness, but it's sort of a double bill.
It's like our own little Coachella. We're
exactly. Let's put it all together. All right.
Joe Weisenthal's got a band.
Oh, yeah.
Dave
well,
Wilson's
he's going to
have
Joe Weisenthal is going to have a record label called Stalwart Records. We're putting it all together here. So look forward to all of that. Alex Harris, bond reporter, Carl Riccadonna, chief U.S. economist for Bloomberg Economics. Thank you both so much.
All right, coming up, earlier this week we caught up with the Queen of the Netherlands, Queen Maxima. She talked about financial inclusion. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of a twist on that. Someone who is working on financial literacy for kids. I think this is so important, should be part of schools starting from a really young age. So we're going to talk about that.
All right. We're going to get to that. We're also going to get you to the close of trading for the week. The market's a little bit worked up, largely based on that headline from Bloomberg earlier about some coming restrictions, some potential restrictions on the U.S.
Pretty much at our lows
and
right now.
China. So we'll see how that all goes for the balance of the trade. First, let's get to Bob Moon for World National Headlines. Hey, Bob.
Jason, if the House ultimately votes to impeach President Trump, the Senate will go to trial. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Senate would have no choice but to conduct a trial to determine whether the president is removed from office. The Kentucky Republican spoke to NPR, and removing any doubt over whether the Senate would act, he said the chamber would immediately go into a trial. What was Attorney General William Barr's role in the White House Ukraine affair? In the much-scrutinized phone call with Ukraine's leader, President Trump said he'd be putting Barr in touch with Ukrainian authorities to assist with his investigation request. We haven't heard from Barr, although there are reports he was involved in keeping the whistleblower's report away from Congress. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has some questions. She wouldn't comment on whether Barr should be called to testify in the proceedings, but she talked today about some curious matters.
The committee will make their own announcements about who they are calling in to be witnesses. I do think the Attorney General has gone rogue. He has for a long time now. And since he was mentioned in all of this, it's curious that he would be making decisions about how the complaint would be handled.
Also today, Pelosi voiced concern over President Trump's comments that suggested retaliation against people who helped the whistleblower. She said the committees will see to it that doesn't happen. Federal law enforcement officials say they've taken down a $2 billion Medicare fraud scheme that enticed seniors to get their cheeks swabbed for unneeded DNA tests. More than 30 people have been charged around the country. Global News, 24 hours a day, on air and at TikTok, on Twitter. I'm Bob Moon.
From tech.
You think that big companies have a leg up when it comes to innovation in this space.
To taxes.
How has that impacted tax receipts for various entities?
You need breaking news and the long view.
There was another bit of tech news that I'd love to get your views on.
Bloomberg Markets.
Where do you think people should be looking in the market?
With Lisa Abramowitz and Paul Sweeney. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern. On Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Are you interested in a challenging and exciting career? One where you can be part of solving complex challenges across industries and geographies. Bloomberg's ever-expanding technology, data, news, and media services foster innovation, empower clients, and offer nearly limitless opportunities for career growth. Visit Bloomberg.com/careers today to view our current job opportunities. Bloomberg LP is an equal opportunity employer. The address once again is Bloomberg.com/careers.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the...
Thanks for a great meeting, everyone. And help yourselves to a donut.
Colin, none of us are in the same room.
And you're on the DLR.
The next stop is Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, well, it'd be a shame to waste them.
Typical. With cloud-based communications from 8x8, your people can collaborate from anywhere and from any device. Get HD voice, video meetings, chat and contact centre on one mobile-friendly platform. Discover more at 8x8.co.uk. 8x8. Communications transformed.
This one shouldn't take long. Of course, if it had a cover, I might not be bothered. Can't see what's under there. And they'd have chained the back wheel. It would have taken me much longer, especially if the chain's off the ground. Makes it harder to cut. This one doesn't even have a lock on the front. So, in the time I've been talking to you, I've nicked it.
Over 9,000 scooters and motorbikes were stolen in London last year. Lock your bike, chain the rear wheel, and cover it to make it harder to steal. Lock, chain, cover. The Met Police.
Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden.
On breakfast. Tom Hanks is our special guest.
You're either being punished or rewarded. I'll let you decide.
I did do a whole show of grease on my front lawn when I was a kid. We charged everyone 10p. We raised a £5 and I gave it to Bishop's Waltham Gymnastics Club towards a new crash mat.
Do they get the crash mat?
I mean, it took a couple more years, but yeah.
It does happen to normal people like you. You've won £20,000. Well done.
I love this game.
Breakfast
with Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden. Weekday
Weekdays from 6:30. Listen on your radio, global player, or smart speaker.
Play hard.
Do you remember? Here at Tesco, we're still celebrating 100 years of great value, with even more great prices that take you back. Like a 24-pack of Diet Coke, from £8 to just £6.50. All this week at Tesco.
Selected stores subject to availability. Offer ends 1st of October.
In case you didn't know, TuneIn lets you listen to the same radio stations you pick up on your home or car radio, except you can hear them from anywhere. If you want to find a station from somewhere else in the world, navigate to the By Location section under Browse. Keep exploring with TuneIn.
Hey NFL fans, can't watch the game? Can't be there? We've got you covered. With TuneIn Premium, you can hear every NFL game live as it's happening, or catch it later on demand. Anytime, anywhere, all season long.
Live on the road, I'm Fonseca with your daily sports update. Got the Cleveland Indians at the Washington Nationals. This game's going to be at 8:05 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch that first pitch.
He appeared in 76 games last year. Swinging a long drive to left by Dozier. Way back, going, gone, goodbye.
Cleveland versus Washington. Pitching matchup, Zach Plesac, Austin Voth. And remember, first pitch, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. It's your TuneIn Sports Update.
College football is live on TuneIn. Listen for free to games from more than 140 schools all season long.
To the 10, all the way to the checkerboard. But he stays on his feet and scores.
What's happening in college football this week? This Saturday, we have Washington at USC, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Excitement of college football lives on TuneIn. Listen to every call and every game of your school all season long for free on TuneIn. Just search college to listen today.
It's Liz Hernandez with your TuneIn Music News Update.
A New York Post claims a 1998 interview that Jennifer Lopez did with Movie Line magazine has resurfaced. During the interview, J-Lo was asked about Gwyneth Paltrow. Jennifer said, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Meanwhile, J-Lo claims she was misquoted. To hear music from Jennifer Lopez, search today's hits on TuneIn.
Headlines and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at TikTok on Twitter. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. To move lower for the Dow, the S&P, and NASDAQ we are bouncing along the bottom. Let's head right over to the first word breaking news desk for today's afternoon call. Here is Bill Maloney.
And good afternoon, Charlie. U.S. stocks under pressure after the headline that the White House is weighing limits on U.S. portfolio flows into China. And among the options the administration is considering, delisting Chinese companies from the U.S. exchanges. Dow's currently down 131 points, S&P's dropped 26, and NASDAQ declines by 119. The U.S. 10-year yield at 1.67%, small caps sink 10 points, and all of the main 11 S&P sectors are trading lower, led by losses in tech and telecom. FANG stocks fall 2.6%, transport sink 82, semis drop 3%, and the VIX is higher by 13%. Leaders to the upside in the Dow, Pfizer, JP Morgan, and Walgreens, while Microsoft and Disney led to the downside. After earnings, Micron plunged 11%. And in other news, Moody's and S&P plunged intraday on a report that warned asked the SEC to take action regarding inflated bond ratings. Wrapping things up, Wells Fargo jumped as much as 5.2% after announcing a new CEO. Live from the First Breaking News Desk, I'm Bill Maloney. Charlie?
And we thank you, Bill. Talia here live. Breaking news over your Bloomberg. Type Squawk SQUAWK on your terminal. I'm Charlie Pellet, and that's a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Charlie, thanks a lot. You're listening to Bloomberg Business Week right here on Bloomberg Radio.
Kids, I don't know what's wrong with these kids today.
So earlier this week, Jason and I caught up with Queen Maxima of the Netherlands to talk about the importance of financial inclusion. She's working with the UN Secretary General specifically on that program, has been for many years. Our next guest is also involved in doing something similar, starting at a younger age, focusing on financial literacy for kids. Tim Sheehan is CEO at Greenlight on the phone from Atlanta. Tim, nice to have you here with Jason and myself. Tell us a little bit about Greenlight.
Hi. Yeah. Hi, Carol. Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me. Greenlight it's all about helping parents raise financially smart kids. So we have a built-in spending account with a debit card connected to it where the parents can choose the exact stores where the kids can spend and how much they can spend. It has a built-in savings account with a parent-paid interest rate tied to it so the parents can kind of really heavily incent the kids to save. That's kind of fun. It's some parents set it at 50% or 100% to really incent the kids to save, and then there's a built-in giving account as well as chores tracking and allowances can be automated as well.
Wow, this is really interesting, and obviously you've gotten some big backers. You just raised a Series B round, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo in there, and you had some existing VC investors as well continue on their investment journey, as it were. Where did this idea come from? Because, you ran Yahoo Finance, so you've seen, a lot of the financial world, but it's surprising how untapped, candidly, this market is.
Yeah, it really is. It's a classic story of the entrepreneur facing the problem himself and then finding out that actually, parents across the country were facing the same issue. But I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, and my wife and I were having this issue where we weren't carrying cash very frequently. We were making all of our purchases with debit cards and credit cards. Mm-hmm. And yet we still have these circumstances where, the kids might be going on a school field trip or traveling with a sports team or maybe just going to the movies with their friends. And so we wanted to be able to give them money, yet we weren't carrying cash. So there was just this kind of fundamental problem of the, declining use of cash. And when we spoke with parents, first started with 100 in-person interviews and then did a survey nationwide of parents, and essentially most parents were encountering the same issue. And in talking to them, that's where I learned that they not only wanted to solve this problem of being able to give their kids money, when appropriate and have some oversight of that, they also wanted them to be smart about money.
Right.
They wanted them to learn how to spend wisely, the importance of saving, because unexpected things pop up in life, like the car needs to be repaired, things like that.
What I kind of love is, can it teach my daughter who's got a bank card, a debit card, and she doesn't use it. She just keeps tapping us for cash because she likes to save it and hold on to it. What's interesting is, I guess your card differentiates from what a normal bank card in that as a parent, you can put controls, as you said, about what stores it can be used on and so on and so forth. So you really have a lot of oversight into it.
Yeah. You can choose the stores where they can spend. You can choose how much they can spend. You can also, incent the kids to save. Like that's a really popular feature. Is I mentioned the parent-paid interest rate. The average across all of our parents is 18% APY. So I think any of us would love to have that return.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But it's really working because the kids, they just saved over $10 million, all the Greenlight kids. So it's really working. They're learning to save.
So what do you get out of this in terms of, because it's a business, right?
Yeah. So it's a subscription fee. It's $4.99 per family per month, and so that means that all the parents and up to 5 kids are all included for that one price.
Interesting. And so, do you see any competition looming? You've got some big backers in terms of the big banks, but do you feel like maybe somebody else is going to have this idea, especially from a bigger financial institution perspective?
No, I think what makes us feel comfortable is because Chase and Wells Fargo kind of really, I think what attracted them was the mission, Greenlight's mission of helping parents raise financially smart kids. Because they're trying to help their customers, adults, also be smart about money, but they're interested in helping the next generation as well. But I think with the support we have with this round that we did, I think we're in a strong position.
Hey, Tim, just 15 seconds. How many people do you have signed up, or how many families do you have signed up?
We have over 500,000 parents and kids using Greenlight.
Wow, that's a substantial number. Well, looking forward to catching up with you as soon as this builds out. It's a really great idea. Tim Sheehan, is Chief Executive Officer of Greenlight. He joins us on the phone from Atlanta. Check them out via Twitter at Greenlight Card. Very cool idea. I have to say, I want to look into this.
I do too. I was going to take the link and send it to my husband. My daughter would hate it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
She would be like, what? I can't use it to buy
She'd walk into some store and be like, I'm sorry, this is not working